Is there something in your life you just feel you have to do?
Live so that your children can tell their children that you not only stood for something wonderful, you acted on it. And to me, that just says Bob in Honor Flight. He found Honor Flight to be wonderful. And he didn't just say, well, we'll wait and, we'll get you on that waiting list in 2.5 years. He acted on it and he made it happen. And that's what he would want other people to do too, I think.
Bob Morrison made it happen for thousands of veterans in his community who got the chance to heal, to bond, to have a day they will never forget, touring the monuments and memorials honoring those who have served, including those who never came home. On this Memorial Day, we take you along on an honor flight in his honor with his sons and wife Norma as they take us to the heart of their story. In communities big and small, there are special people quietly doing the work that impacts so many lives. Bob Morrison is one of them. He had an important job in a retirement community, but it was there that he would soon discover a new mission that would transform not just his life, but those around him. The first honor flight was a group of pilots getting together to bring a small group of veterans to Washington, D.C., to see the newly decorated World War II monuments. Soon, it grew into something much bigger. So Bob came home from work and said, I heard about this program. What did he tell you? You remember that conversation?
Well, what he told me was that there was a resident whose name was Bill Shore, and Bill had come to him and asked if Bob had ever heard of Honor Flight, and of course Bob had not, and so his question was, is this a credible organization? I'm not sure what Bill thought he was going to plan to do with the information, maybe just go himself. I don't know. But Bob checked into it, and that's when he found out that there were 9,000 veterans on the waiting list, and it would be 2.5 years before anyone from the Quad Cities could go. And of course, his immediate thought is, these guys are 80 and 90 years old. Especially he knew that because his dad was a veteran from World War II, and that there's no way that they could wait if they were going to get as many people on, as they could that first flight.
And he was a marketing guy for Ridgecrest. So did he have the experience? Did he think he had the skills to put something this big together to bring up plane loads of veterans to Washington, D.C.?
I don't think that was really intimidating because he had done a lot with other organizations, with Marriage Encounter and things. He'd planned a lot of, things that took a lot of planning. But I'm sure he had no idea what all it would entail. By the time it was all said and done, it just took hundreds of volunteers, and still today, there are hundreds of volunteers that make it work. It's never just one person. And the first thing he did was went out and he found 12 just incredible people for that first board. And it was the board that did all the work and put all the things together to make it happen.
I'm with Bob Morrison here with the Honor Flight, and when this all started, you probably never had an idea that you might get close to 2,000 veterans.
No, I thought we'd do probably 2 or 3 flights and we'd be done. But the community support and the applications that come in and just how rewarding it is for everyone just makes it worthwhile. So.
And what about you personally, to see these veterans enjoy these memorials in their honor?
Well, as you know, it's very emotional. This touches the hearts of a lot of people that have had things buried inside for a long time. And to give them a chance to get that out in the open and to feel good about what they did is just rewarding. It just makes me feel like they are finally understanding how much they mean to all of us.
So on this day, his sons are here in his honor. One of them waiting for his mom at the airport in the same sweatshirt Bob often wore on those flights. So Rob, the sweater looks familiar to me. Tell me about the sweatshirt.
This was my dad's sweatshirt. So it's It's had some use, so it's special for me to wear it today.
You know, you've seen several of the honor flights come and go. You've seen your dad working so hard. You've seen a lot of the pictures. Now to be wearing the same sweatshirt that he wore, touching the lives of all those veterans, when many of them say that was the favorite moment of their life, among at least the top 5, if not the moment. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to be a part of it. I've been here a number of return flights to welcome them home, and I've never seen so many tears of joy every time.
His other sons along for the journey to remember what was and what still is an incredible tribute to those who have served. So, Thomas, what was this day like for you?
Oh, it was fantastic. Got to give Pat a great experience and met a lot of people who knew my dad on the trip throughout the time. Hear some great stories. So it was.
Did you get a feel today of what your dad felt when he organized and went on these honor flights?
Yes, I did. It was quite emotional. There's a number of times where I'd have to stop and catch my breath. So.
What's this day mean to you?
It's hard. It's really impossible to put into words. It just means the world to me to get to see what this does for the veterans after all the years of watching my dad's face just light up talking about it. So that's really the best way I can.
5,000 men and women have gone because of what your dad started with the help of a lot of other people, but he was the leader. And how cool is that to see their expressions on their face when they see the nation's thank you?
Yeah, it's just amazing that even 2 years after he passed, just to see that joy that he's still bringing out in all these people and what it means to them when they do the mail call and get those letters, when they see those memorials. Like, it's just amazing. All the stories I've been hearing all day and just getting a chance for them to open up and get some closure on some of that stuff has been really powerful. And I can't thank Honor Flight enough for the opportunity.
A day that ends just as powerful as it began, with a hero's welcome, long overdue for so many. What were you seeing, what were you feeling when you saw the veterans coming down after they deplaned back here at home?
Oh, just so many tears, and it was just such a celebration of what the veterans had given in the past, and just to see them honored was just amazing, and you could tell how touched they were. I mean, the veterans had tears, and of course all the people there were just, clapping and cheering for him and giving a hero's welcome. Like it really is a parade when they come in, so it's like a hero's parade.
And the one established here, partly because of the way they set it up, was like none other in the country, so various hubs across the country all run independently. They decided to have a hero's welcome here, right? A lot of other hubs, they did not do this. What was your feeling when you saw hundreds of people show up that first day and every flight since?
Yeah, well, I think that's what's been amazing, and there were just so many people at that first flight. It was just, you were almost in shock. It's like, wow, this is really awesome. But then it's just grown and grown and grown. I remember it was the first flight, there were just tons of people, crowding around, coming down this first aisle or whatever, hallway or whatever, and by the last time I was here, because I was actually on, as you know, I was on the 50th flight, the last flight 2 years ago, and it was all the way down this hallway too. I mean, you can hardly pack more people in.
How did this change his life, being a part of this, and your life as well?
Well, it took a lot of time. Bob and I have both been very patriotic growing up, and I think that comes from Scouts and just maybe the era we grew up in. But I think that doing the honor flights made both of us even more patriotic. And I don't know, both of our parents served in World War II. Our dads served in World War II, and neither one of them had ever talked to us about the war. And, and I remember as a kid asking my dad, because he had like a German helmet and things, and he would not talk about it at all. And so, that's been one of the great things that we've been able to learn more about the wars just from the veterans, and because as they've opened up too.
And seeing the relationship of Bob and his dad before, during, and after that flight, it changed them. It changes all of the veterans that go on this and their families that hear the stories after.
Exactly, because they, from what I understand, most of them have never, it wasn't just our two dads that hadn't talked to their families. It's most veterans don't, that, they don't want to relive those things. And by being on the flight, they're with fellow service people that have been through the same thing. And so they open up and are able to share things that they've never shared before.
A lot of healing.
Especially touch Bob.
A lot of healing. He got to witness the healing. I remember hearing him read the letters that the children write that they get to read on the way home from mail call. And he choked up I've been on 5 flights with him on this. And to hear him read that and the passion, the enthusiasm, the emotion he had.
Yeah. Honor Flight definitely stirred his passion to make it happen and to have it continue, but also the emotional passion that, he cried at every flight.
Until a rare disease took away his ability to keep going, as he shared with us shortly after his diagnosis.
The diagnosis finally is that he has behavioral frontotemporal degeneration or dementia. It took me a week to learn how to say that. And basically, there are just lots of things he can't do anymore. It's executive functioning, they call it. And so, for example, when you ask him how he feels about something, he really can't answer that. So he'll give you different answers. So it's been tough.
Part of the difficulties of that diagnosis for you is that with diagnosis also comes the treatment or the cures, which right now are lacking for this illness.
Right. There are no treatments and no cures at this time.
But they did schedule me for a sleep study, so that's the next step down.
You know how positive Bob always is. He's always looking for the next thing.
So Bob, this week you've retired officially from Ridgecrest, and you are stepping down as the hub director of the Honor Flight of the Quad Cities.
That's right. And I've offered to be on the board as just a regular board member, but not as hub director.
How difficult has this week been for you?
Well, I try to jog 2 times just about every day and use an exercise bike.
Bob, frustration fit with you? Are you frustrated these days of trying to come to terms with what you are feeling and what you may not be feeling?
It's not that I'm feeling frustrated, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I can't work. I'd like to be at Ridgecrest. If I had a choice, I would be here or I'd volunteer.
But Bob Morrison's mission continues. This is the memorial flight in his honor. What's this night mean for you? We want to talk about, keep his memory, his legacy alive, not only what he built here. When he could no longer do this anymore, did that impact him? I know that part of the emotional connection may not have been there. Did he ever say anything about not being able to do this anymore?
Well, you probably remember at the beginning, it was, I just want to be able to help people. And, eventually he couldn't talk, but, when he could still speak, I just want to help people. And he wanted to be a part of Honor Flight. And so what we did, that was in the fall of 2015, is when he was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. And so in 2017, for the August flight, we actually drove out to greet the plane out there, and that meant so much to him. For one thing, I wanted him to have closure with the great people that he'd met out at Dulles. And so even then he was always emotional, and his even right, a month before he died, he got to go to a Hawkeye game, and the national anthem, he's got his hand right on his heart. He never lost his patriotism, ever.
Now others carry the torch he lit and continue the mission that Bob Morrison and a handful of friends first started, standing up for those waiting and wondering when their turn will come.
Live so that your children can tell their children that you not only stood for something wonderful, you acted on it. And to me, that just says Bob and Honor Flight. He found Honor Flight to be wonderful, and he didn't just say, we'll wait and, we'll get you on that waiting list in 2.5 years. He acted on it and he made it happen, and that's what he would want other people to do too, I think.
See more about Bob's illness and watch a powerful special on our YouTube channel right now called Their Turn, Their Time. Vietnam veterans go on their first honor flight from this area. And celebrate Rosie the Riveter in our series there as well. If you like this story, please subscribe and share with a friend. The Heart of the Story with Gary and Metivier podcast and YouTube. Special thanks to Peterson Plumbing and Heating a company started by veterans returning home from World War II, and QCA Pools and Spas, where employees are now the owners, proudly making products in the heart of America, made in the USA.